Hi, Harry Welty, Rant 5. Got something I want to show you. It's a picture in my office. That's a picture of my grandfather, George Robb. He's on the right side, unless this is a mirror image, and he's shaking hands with President John Kennedy. That was 1962, a year before President Kennedy was assassinated. A little bit of information about my grandfather. He was a solid, rock-ribbed Kansas Republican. And he had no use for Democrats. But he didn't hate Democrats. And our family had to badger him when he was given an invitation to go shake hands with the president as a former winner of the Congressional Medal of Honor, which John Kennedy was honoring back at that time. The Southern Baptists have gotten together recently, and Mike Pence went on to tell them what a great guy Donald Trump is at a point in time when the Baptists are rethinking their unqualified support of the President of the United States, and the new head of the Southern Baptists was pulling back, and Pence was trying to get them to go back into the Trump ring. And it's not just Pence who's trying to get him to stay with the president that we have. It was Attorney General Sessions. And Attorney General Sessions was quoting John. No, he was quoting the Apostle Paul, telling him what Paul told him. The Christians of his time, you have got to honor Rome. You've got to pay attention to the law. And that's an interesting subject I'd be happy to debate at some point. I've probably read a lot more of the Apostle Paul than Donald Trump ever has. But I'm going to think about somebody from my grandfather's era. He was a comic in the Franklin Roosevelt years. His name was Will Rogers. And as a little kid, even though I was living long past the days of Will Rogers, I thought about these two quotes often. The first thing he said was that said, I don't belong to no organized political party. I'm a Democrat. I love to throw that at Democrats these days and make them laugh. And the other thing he said, which is something that has always tested me, is I never met a man I didn't like. And I thought, that's a wonderful philosophy. I'm going to try to live by that. Well, how do you live by that with people like Joseph Stalin and Adolf Hitler and Mao Zedong around? And Donald Trump, for that matter. I'm going to toss this challenge to Pete Stauber. I'm going to remind Pete that he's a law enforcement officer. He's out there making sure that we all have equal justice before the law. He's on a daily basis trying to do good as a Duluth police officer. And I'm going to remind him what this guy he can't wait to meet, Donald Trump, sounds like a little fifth grader about to see Santa for the first time at the department store. When he talks about meeting the president. Donald Trump, about 15, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, he spent hundreds of thousands of dollars advertising in the newspapers to make sure that that the city of New York got 5 alleged rapists, all black kids, sent to jail. And he panicked the police department so much that, by God, they forced confessions from these poor black kids who are all innocent as could be, and they put them in jail drought for 10 years. That's the kind of justice that this president forced on a bunch of innocent black kids. And this is a man that Stauber can't wait to meet. I find Trump an interesting man. I think I could get along with him as a friend, but I see him for what he is. How about Stauber? A lot of people like the Baptists have begun to rethink their relationship with the Republican Party. I'd like to think that Pete Stauber could do the same, but maybe like frogs in a cool pot, we've waited too long. And it's no longer possible to jump out.